Hello, we have a poem from last year for some audio from last year, both from December. This poem is called Fortress. I'm looking for evidence of my greatness, where I used to scour every corner for the chance of faults to find. I am following my intuition faithfully, where I used to try and predict the future, thinking through every single option. Releasing the vices I would ensnare my soul in, giving myself the grace to grow and change. Building my castle, honoring my fortress at the altar inside my cathedral, worshipping this experience in devotion to everything inside and out. I feel like this captures a lot of what I was working through by the end of last year, and what most of this episode is about, and just about choosing to believe in your life, choosing to believe in yourself. Really what this episode is about. Hi, my name's Abbott, and this is my podcast, Philosophical Laugh Lines. I am in Australia now, in the back of a van in Tasmania, traveling with two people that I met on the ferry here. Well, I met one, and she was going to meet her friend here. Traveling around Tasmania, being in Australia, feels so weird, because I've been thinking about this for so long, and it still doesn't feel real. It kind of feels like New York in that way. Like we were at a grocery store, and it just doesn't feel real that like everybody's speaking Aussie accents, just casually. I was on the phone with my mom today, and I was like, what bit are they doing? This is so interesting. It just doesn't feel real yet. So thinking about work, because that is what I really came here to do, was that I applied for a cherry picking position I found online and heard about this from two people at the Rainbow who didn't apply online. They just showed up and they had jobs. And then these two people that I met on the ferry also already have the jobs at the cherry picking farm that I want to work at, and are doing this trip down the West Coast before going to the farms to work. They already have the job secured. I think I already said that. And so they also know when things start, they're already getting emails about the work from the company. And so I'm thinking I'll just travel with them and then show up when they show up, and get the job that someone else didn't show up for. That feels, especially because it worked out for people that didn't apply online. And so then I'm thinking about my car, getting a car here. And at first I was thinking of buying a camper van, a kind of proper one. But I'm also why do I have this 65 liter of stuff that allows me to live outside of, the house, outside of a house, to then just go and buy a house on wheels. I don't think it really makes sense. And I've always wanted a station wagon, and now this feels like the time to get a station wagon. I will just become the ultimate lesbian here in Australia, because I really hope it's a Subaru station wagon, 4-wheel drive, automatic, because I do not really want to learn manual, but I would be open to it. But that just feels so fun. I got to kind of fulfill my dream of living in a with a life small enough that I would just bike around and then take the train when I wanted to go farther. And I kind of did that at my mom's the past 6 months. And now I'll get my lesbian. I need to get more Birkenstocks. I'll get my lesbian dream in Australia. Oh, Birkenstocks would be nice. My feet would be more covered. I've been thinking about... I'm really enjoying how a lot of things that started, or how things have ended for me this year. Like how certain relationships ended. I'm thinking about, romantic connections and my job at the cruise. Although now I've just found out that they're shutting down my favorite boats, and God, that makes me so sad that I can't go back and just do one last contract. The trips will happen when I'm in Australia, so can't do that. But it feels good. It feels like there's this big open space and there's nothing but opportunity for me to fill it, which feels really nice. I'm feeling very free and I'm so open to what comes my way, which feels like such a good place to be at the beginning of something. How I'm at the beginning of this experience in Australia. And it's really funny also to finally feel like I'm at a beginning. Last year, everything felt like such a beginning, and this year has felt more like an ending. Thinking about the 9-year cycles of numerology, and how every life runs on 9-year cycles. And last year was a 9-year for me, and this year is a 1-year, and last year felt full of seeds. Literally when I saw this girl that I was dating at the time, upon making eye contact, I inhaled a seed. And that felt like a big metaphor, symbol for our relationship, but that's also one of the things that's ended. That I'm glad has ended. Well, stopped being romantic, but also basically feels like it's ended because we hardly speak. But last year was a 9-year for me, and that was when I went to spirit school. That was my first rainbow. That was just a big eye-opening year. And this year has felt so much more like an ending. The job ending, the relationship ending, a lot of mindsets ending. Just really trying to finally let go of the idea that to love me is to welcome a burden into your life, or just something to manage. To finally accept that people enjoy having me around, and I'm not a problem just because I'm different. There's plenty of people that are different as well. God, the sun down here is no joke. My feet are so sunburned. My poor skin feels so sensitive. I think I managed to not get reburned today, though. My hands and my feet. I've been wearing sleeves to try and protect from the sun more casually because I hadn't bought sunscreen yet. It's also interesting thinking about time, how being a traveler and moving between so many places, you kind of experience a sort of timelessness. The holidays kind of feel more and more distant every year. Christmas last year was... I don't know, I was home for Christmas. But I was in Africa for the build-up of it, and so it's just a foreign-looking Christmas. Well, no, I was in a Muslim country as well, so they weren't celebrating Christmas. But this year in Japan, seeing all of the Christmas lights and everything, it just feels funny. And now in Australia, where it's summer, this will be a weird Christmas. And again, with a bunch of people that I will have probably just met. And it's interesting to practice something that is a traditional marker of time. That's usually a time when you reflect with people you love and think about how the year has changed you and everything like that, and do that with people that you don't know very well. to celebrate for the sake of celebration, rather than what it feels like these holidays are meant for, or meant to be. Like in a stationary life, it feels like they're more about marking the time, acknowledging the difference that a year can make. I guess you still do that, but it's more on your own. And also, like, you have that as a traveler outside of these traditional holidays. Like, I think of scrolling through my phone camera and I'm like, oh, that was there, or oh, that was there. Or even just telling any story, it's like, oh, that was there. That's when I was here. And how the place also affects your person. Like, going back to how I was talking about living my lesbian dream of owning a Subaru, having four-wheel drive and having a surfboard, and just being like the hottest version of that self for me. Anytime I think of wanting to do something like, oh, that's sexy, I want to do it. It's interesting also. I noticed something about my attraction, like romantic attraction patterns. In the past few months, I was really interested in this girl, and like, well, when I'm interested in someone, I'm really interested in them typically. Like, I don't go big or go home, baby. Because my Venus is in Cancer, and so it's, very watery, emotional affection, and I felt like it was a strong connection. She said even that, like, she'd told me things that she'd never told anyone else. And so I was like, oh, okay, like, this is big, like, this could be something big. And then it didn't happen that way. That's one of the things that I'm also appreciative to have ended, like, in that stage, I guess, or changed, ending, change, same. And in thinking about how she said, like, she was able to be so vulnerable with me, and how, like, people will just come up to me on the streets and just start telling me things about their lives, like, needing to maybe reframe my perspective, thinking of needing to maybe reframe my perspective on this thing of people being able to be really vulnerable with me, not necessarily meaning that it's going to be this deep, lasting connection or necessarily romantic. I think that also, like, people imagine, and I guess some of myself included, people imagine that, like, you can only be so vulnerable with your romantic partner. I think a lot of people only do that. They're only really authentic and vulnerable with their romantic partner. And, like, that's special to be someone's safe space, but also, like, that feels like a way of isolating yourself and not experiencing all of the things that intimacy and vulnerability can teach you. And so rethinking that and realizing that this attraction or this vulnerability that people feel for me doesn't mean that it's going to be a long-lasting connection, but also realizing that even from my perspective, maybe this attraction, I'm mistaking this attraction that means something else even in my body for romance. Like, when at my spiritual assessment at Spirit School last year, my medium, my teacher told me that I would have a specialist skill of being able to help people who have experienced losing loved ones to suicide. And, like, that has shown up in the last year in 2 romantic connections. And they're the ones that, like, I really took to heart, took seriously. And it's like, I was like, oh, this means so much, like, I really invested in it. But really, I'm wondering if maybe it's just like I was here to help them process some sort of thing, even though, like, both times, like, we we didn't talk about that too much. Just kind of like in passing, it wasn't like a big thing. It wasn't like the focus of the relationship. But it's just interesting to think about, like, maybe sometimes what we think is romantic attraction isn't really that. Like, if we sit with it a bit longer, like maybe we're acting too fast on this attraction and thinking that it's romantic, and really it's something else. And good on the times that then we don't act on it so far as to have sex, because then sex just makes everything so much more complicated, it feels like. Changes the body chemicals. Changes the way you think about it all. And also feels more freeing. Like realizing more about learning more about yourself always. Everything is information, and it's always good to know. Like how you work and what you prefer and where things are coming from, so you can know where you want to go. That's good. Where things are coming from, so you know where you want to go. And also really just the more you learn, the more you experiment, the more you can know what you want. It's like trying this on. No, that doesn't fit. Trying that on. No, not yet. Not right yet. Not exactly. I really think of it as like pants. Like I remember when I came back from study abroad, I also hate pants, so it's all like, or I have hated pants historically in my life, and so it's a good metaphor for me because they don't usually feel like they fit right. But I remember when I came back from study abroad, it felt like I was wearing the same pair of pants but different underwear, and so like nobody could see how they didn't fit right anymore. They didn't feel right anymore. And it's like pants. Like, oh, the waist isn't hitting in the right place. Oh, this is squeezing me where I don't like to be squeezed. Oh, I can't sit down in these. Oh, I can't squat in these. Oh, and it's like all these things that you realize you want out of a pair of pants. Like, I've realized I really like my pants to be loose fitting, or at least semi-elastic, because I hate feeling confined. That's something else she said in my spiritual assessment, was that I get energetically claustrophobic really easily. And she said that as in, like, with all of my jobs, once I know them, once I learn them, I'm done. I'm not interested anymore. And that made a lot of sense. The two jobs I've had long term, working on the cruise and summer camp, they were both seasonal, and I had them 5 years. So it's like summer camp, I worked there two months out of the year, 2.5-ish. And then the cruise, it was like 5 months out of the year typically, and so in 2 months at a time. And so I never really it was slow, and I learned a lot more outside of work than I did inside of work. And it's also interesting thinking about people's comfort zones and needs. Like, I learned a lot about needs and expressing them with my friends that I was traveling with after Rainbow. Like, it was this one guy always was so good at communicating. He was from the Czech Republic, so he was very direct, and that was nice, especially when having so many people in one space, like to kind of streamline the information. And I just love being able to do that in general, making something concise so it's more understandable. And comfort zones, like one of the guys that I was just traveling with, he sleeps on the street, so like outside on the street. He enjoys traveling that way. And like I did a bit of that the past few days. Like, I missed the ferry in Tasmania, or near Melbourne, and so on the way to Tasmania, and so I had to like pay extra for a new ticket because I got my ticket originally on sale. And so I was like, I can't fucking spend more money on accommodation. Like, I just spent however much more to, get another ticket. And so I slept in a public park nearby, and it was fine. Like, I was behind a bush, and so nobody bothered me. Nobody else was even there. Very quiet park. And luckily I wasn't too cold. And so, like, yeah, doing that would have been definitely out of my comfort zone last year. And last year, like, I had to expand my comfort zone in Africa. Like, when I was trying to get to the gathering, it ended up being a 2-day process. And so then I had to sleep on the side of the road in my hammock. Gosh, this hammock has gotten me through so much. But that was more comfortable because it was in a rural setting. Like, camping in the city is not as fun, if just for the looks that people will give you. But my friend that sleeps on the street was saying, like, he feels like he meets a lot more locals that way and meets a lot more kind people that way. And so that's interesting as well. But just, like, once you start to expand your comfort zone, it's so nice to be able to see all of the different ways that your dreams can become possible. Like, even thinking about really relationships and intimacy, like, it's like once you let go of the idea that you can only be truly vulnerable and authentic with your romantic partner, then it opens the door to so many new ways for you to feel seen and heard and loved. Oh, wow, that's good. And also so many ways for you to feel fulfilled. Like, I don't know, I feel like the idea of romantic partnership has really just been sold as like the ultimate end all be all. And it's like, really, there are so many other ways for you to have a fulfilling life. Like, this feels also related to capitalism. I saw someone else talking about this, about how the prioritization of romantic relationships is really part of the economic system, because it's like, if you have a romantic partner, then one partner, then you are more inclined to, like, buy a house and have kids and, like, just feed into the economic system. And it's like, that makes sense. It's not like necessarily like a devilish thing. Like, societies are built for a reason. We are community beings. Yeah, like, it's not a bad thing, but it is also nice to find the ways in which that it's not necessarily totally true. Like, thinking about how, I don't know, it feels like finding a cheat code. Like, it's like, it just feels like, finding more ways to live a happy life. Oh yeah, thinking about how, like, for so much of my life I've known I was different, and I just internalized that as wrong. And it's like, a lot of people will say that, like, a lot of people will think that. But the thing of realizing that that's not true, and realizing that you can have a beautiful, fulfilling life outside of the idea of what's quote unquote normal, is really cool and magical. And I mean, how nice to know that there's not one way. Like, anytime a society is so restricting to only allow one way of being, then it really forces the people who aren't that way to, like, differentiate themselves even stronger. Like, you can't be outside of the norm without completely being outside of the norm, which leads to, like, a lot of deviant, not necessarily healthy behaviors. Like, if you're suffocating something, it's not gonna, if you're starving yourself, you're gonna become violent with hunger. Like, the more comfortable and open a society can be, I feel like, the better. Because then it's not some big, like, anytime you're suffocating a need for long enough, it turns out like it's when you like cry over spilling something, or like when you blow up about some some small thing going wrong. And it's like you were suffocating something for a while. You have been ignoring something, not allowing something to be, because it wouldn't come out so big if you were, like, because it's unrelated to the thing that you blew up about, even, you know? Not blew up, even, just like, you know, imploded. Like, it doesn't have to be in anger. And it also makes sense, like, I don't know, you think about those machines that squish things, like when a car is being squished at the junkyard, like it's tall and not so wide, or however wide it is, and then as it's getting squished, like all this stuff comes out the sides. Like the volume will go somewhere. As much as you need to express something, if you suffocate it for long enough, like it will come out the sides. One of my ideas with this podcast was thinking about how I can feel how bad it is for myself when I don't express myself. And so it's like, okay, what would it be like to express myself even more? What would it be like to have more avenues of self-expression? How would that feel? What would that do to my life? And I feel like maybe part of it, and this is, I feel like, the same as having like any creative outlet, but I feel like part of it has made it easier in general to have needs and to express myself, because it's not such a big, like, it's like learning any skill. You have to practice, and you're not good at it at first. Like, the beginning is always hard. And here I am at the beginning. This has been a hard year. But I love the hard stuff. I love a challenge. Which is also maybe why I invest so hard in relationships that aren't going anywhere. Always when I look back at it, I'm like, girl, what were you doing? Look back at it. I'm experimenting saying less. Or just like, yeah, existing in silence more with these people that I'm traveling with right now. Not in a way of like suffocating my expression, but just like feeling what it's like to appreciate silence and just be, and not always be so storyteller. And I still do that when I want to, but also like when someone that I follow online and appreciate their work very greatly, I think their Instagram handle and maybe also Twitter and stuff is Liminal Psychic. And they were saying how if you want to become a master at something, it is advantageous to also practice the opposite. Like, if you want to be able to see energy better, practice being invisible. Or like seeing your own energy, if you want to practice seeing other. I don't remember what they said specifically, but in thinking about how I am getting better at expressing myself, also how can I exist in silence? How can I just be? And then it makes also what you say more impactful, I feel like. I remember on one acid trip, I thought about saying something to my sister. We were at a music festival. And I was like, are you saying this because you wanted to know, or just because you want to talk? Or like, just because you want to be heard, or something like that. And I didn't end up saying the thing. So I was like, this is unnecessary. It's funny. It still feels like a movie to hear all these people doing an Australian accent. Well, just speaking. They're not doing an accent. That just is their accent. I would love to get more of an accent while I was here. Some of them talk so fast, and I really am struggling to understand. Even though I speak fluent English. I like how my accent has changed as well. And not necessarily not sounding so American, but also just being confusing. That's always been my goal it feels like the goal that I ended up with, because I want to be mysterious but can't shut the fuck up. And so then when I say all of the things on my mind, it ends up being confusing, which is also mysterious. Because it's like, what is she thinking? Like, how is she getting to all these places? Oh, going back to the sun, it's crazy how I've been wearing a hat basically 24/7. And my nose and mouth and like cheeks are still getting burned. I'm like, this is insane. There's nowhere safe. Nowhere safe. Feels like French Polynesia. Secret Sun. Like the Secret Service. I'm feeling a lot more clearer than I was before as well. Like, and I feel like that has something to do with all of the endings, like, and deciding what I actually want to focus on, and even what kinds of things I want to focus on. Like, I don't want to be confused. I want to feel sure. I want to feel open. I want to feel safe. And all of those things are things that I can choose. Like, I feel like if something makes you feel confused, it's because you're having to think through it too much, and you already know the answer, but you don't like it. Ooh, that's hard truth. You already know the answer and you don't like it, and so you're trying to think of another way around it. Oh. It's like how when my mom doesn't like an answer, she'll just keep asking the same question. It's like, I don't know. I don't have anything else. And I just do that to myself inside my head. And usually the answer is quite simple. Not easy, but simple. I feel sure of the ground I'm walking on. And also, like, with all of it, like, as in, I feel like some of this could make you think, like, oh, am I doing it wrong? Or, like, that's what I would think. Or that's what I do think a lot. Through all of this, I have such arduous, like, so wholehearted belief in the process, and that it will take me where I need to go, teach me what I need to know. Ooh, take me where I need to go, teach me what I need to know. Are you Dr. Seuss? That, like, whatever, like, even example of investing in the romantic connections that probably weren't actually romantic connections for longer than I quote unquote should have, or like want to in the future, I guess. It's like that still wasn't like an incorrect move. Like, you can't do anything wrong. It's your life. It's your life. So, like, it is your decision to make, and now whatever decision you make is the right one. Because it's your life. And there's no wrong way that you can live your life. You're in charge here. Like, this reminds me of how some people say that they don't like using a pendulum to, like, ask questions because they feel like it's just them, like, moving the thing, even if it, like tried to test that out and like think very strongly in a different direction than a question of like what I know is the answer, like where I am, or like I usually ask questions at the beginning that are obvious answers, and I try to, or no, like if I'm asking something where I'm hopeful for an answer, I will try to firmly believe the opposite of what I'm hoping for. And even still, it goes to the one that I'm hoping for. And it's like, even though the majority of those answers have not been in reality factually true, I still use it sometimes and still put stock in it, have faith in it, because I feel like it's still taking me where I need to go. Like I think of last year in Africa, or before Africa, I asked so many times if the girl that I was seeing would go to Africa and see me there, because that was a big part of why I wanted to go. And checking off my 6th continent and everything like that. But big part of why I wanted to go. Big part, I mean, the only reason I found out about it was because of her. And so, yeah, I wanted to see her. And the pendulum said most of the time, like 90% of the time, that she would go. She didn't go. But I really feel like it's like that was the answer that I needed to believe in order to continue on the path that I was going on. And so it's like, even if it didn't end up being factually true, I still trust what it tells me to think about that. And the same sort of thing happened with this most recent connection. And it's like, okay, so that was just what I needed to think at the moment. That was what I needed to believe. That is the thought process. That is the emotional process that I needed to go through to understand this life better, to understand this self better, to, understand myself better. And I feel like that gives me more grace, and I like it. Gives me more grace, allows more flow, allows to be more open to what life will bring you. Just to not be so rigid. Like, stay flexy, stay sexy. Oh, God. This is why it's called Philosophical Laugh Lines. Trust yourself. Are you not going to trust God? You are part of God. I think that's good. Okay, wow. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I hope that some of it resonated for you. And I hope that it felt really poignant for me after now being in, what are we in April? The end of April. Crazy. To be at the end of April and to have recorded this in December and to now be almost halfway through. Wow, no, I am halfway through my visa. And what felt so full of possibilities and everything like that. And it still feels full of possibilities, but it's more in reality now rather than in dream time, dreamland. It's not full of possibilities anymore. Because a lot of it is now. Half of it is in reality. We'll see what the next half brings. I'm excited for the next half. This first half has not been the easiest. I'm keen to see what the next half brings. I'm sure it will be great. Beyond my wildest dreams. I'm still working on my Patreon. I feel like I want to get it out there once I leave the outback where I am right now. Thinking about how I said in this episode how funny it is to hear everybody doing an Australian accent when it's like that's just how they talk. It's not an accent. But yeah, I'll release, I'll make my Patreon public soon. And for that, we'll have a monthly call where we can talk about what's going on in your life and ways you want to grow and things that are challenging you. And I think I'll just move everything over to Patreon, like my whole website, so you can do a tarot card reading with me and spiritual healing. I'm sure I'll think of more stuff. There will be episodes that aren't released publicly on there with more thoughts and more questions and more explorations. And I think that's all I have to say. Good night.